Why are the exercises we do here so weird? This is a question we'll often get asked directly or indirectly when we're demonstrating an exercise to a patient for the very first time. Now, I don't blame people at all for having this question early on when starting these new exercises, because they do look really different compared to what you normally see on your social media feed, or maybe what you've tried in the past, or stretches that you learned playing high school sports. They are very different. The reason the stuff we do here looks so different compared to things that you may have tried in the past or things that you see on your social media feed is because most often those things are based on an outdated theory of stretch what is tight and strengthen what is weak. Exercise or stretches that look like this, or like this, or even like this are commonplace across your social media feed, or if you go to the gym, you'll see people doing these types of activities everywhere you look. Oftentimes these exercises don't provide the relief people are looking for because they're not getting to the root issue of what's causing your symptom in the first place. If you have, let's say, neck pain, your neck pain doesn't exist in a vacuum, meaning it's not just your neck that there's an issue. Oftentimes there's been a ripple effect from the foot to the knee, to the hip, to the spine, to the shoulders that then has caused the neck to compensate in a way that it wasn't designed to do, causing irritation or limited range of motion. Instead of treating the neck pain in a vacuum by stretching or strengthening the neck, we have to look at the big picture and how did the neck start to compensate in the first place. So the exercises and the stretches that we prescribe should address all of these compensations to fix the normal mechanics of the foot, of the knee, of the hip, up the spine, so that then the neck doesn't have to overwork to fix the lack of range of motion in these other places. The most effective exercises for changing how you feel and drastically improving your range of motion have three things in common. One, they look at how you put pressure through your foot. Two, they look at how you breathe and your ability to expand your rib cage. And three, they work within a range of motion that your body has access to. Meaning if you can only lift your shoulder this high without compensating, we're not going to put you in a position beyond that because we know you're going to have to cheat to get there. So when you combine these three things, you get exercises that look more like this, and like this. For the first thing, why does your foot matter? Why do we care about how we put pressure through the ground? Well, if we're taking 8,000 or 10,000 steps a day, that's 10,000 reps that could be either helping our problem or making it worse. So we want to restore normal mechanics of the foot. And what we found is that that'll have a ripple effect up through the body and improve even how things like far away from our foot, our neck can function just by pushing through the correct spots of our foot when we're walking. Now, the second thing, why does our breath matter when doing rehab exercises? If our rib cage is stiff, we'll have to compensate in order to take a full inspiration and a full expiration. So our ribs should be able to expand and compress naturally and effortlessly. And if they can't, we'll make up for that by arching our back or pulling our head forward or using other compensatory strategies to try to open up our rib cage and breathe normally. The second thing, breathing normally or taking a full inhale and exhale during exercise that it'll do is it'll put you in a more rest digest state so that we'll have a more permanent change from the exercise, meaning your body will feel more safe in this new position, in this new range of motion versus holding your breath or clenching or trying to muscle through something. That will elicit a more fight or flight response, which will make you more tense than you already are. Then the third piece of this that really matters is working within the range of motion that you have. I use the example of shoulder flexion. So if I can only lift my arm this high without then starting to compensate, I'm not going to put you in an exercise that causes your arm to go all the way up here because I know you're going to do things to cheat to get your arm up that high, whether it's pushing your neck forward or arching your low back to do so. We want to work within the confines of the range of motion that you actually have so that you can own that range of motion. And if we can breathe well and push through our foot well in that position, we'll find as you progress your exercises, this range of motion, whether it's your shoulder or your neck or your hip, will improve over time as you open up new range of motion through the exercise. So to answer the question, why are the exercises we do here so weird or different from what you might normally see, is because we're not trying to stretch what's tight and strengthen what's weak. We're looking at how did that area feel tight or start to become weak in the first place. It's very rarely as simple as stretch what is tight, strengthen what's weak. There's often been a series of compensations throughout years and even decades that caused you to feel the pain that you have. And we want to take all those into consideration, because in order to get a more permanent solution to the symptoms that you're feeling, we can't just stretch one area, because if your foot or knee or hip isn't doing what it's supposed to when you're taking 10,000 steps a day, that area is just going to come back. But if we can address the foot and the knee and the hip and the neck and the shoulder all with one or two effective exercises, that's how we're going to get a more permanent solution to you moving and feeling better.